Hi, my name's Savannah and I'd like to welcome you to our brand new channel for the Wilted Tulip costumes. This is the first video of hopefully many where we show you how we make some of our more original designs. I wanted to start with this particular costume because I always get an overwhelming amount of questions whenever I wear these dresses. The first one being, how did you do that? I also want to hopefully inspire you to make your ideas into reality. I think a lot of people underestimate their creative capabilities, and I want to encourage you to just at least try. If you try, you can do it, believe me. If I don't answer your particular question, please leave that in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer it. And if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to our channel. I can't promise that we'll put out videos every week or anything, but every once in a while. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy.
Every time I make one of these dresses, I always start out with a drawing of how I want it to look, and then the understructure that will support how I want it to look. This year I actually decided to do a Victorian bustle gown. If you don't know what that is, here's an example. It's a very straight front silhouette with, of course, a protruding back side. Another thing I have to consider when designing the understructure is movement, how I'm going to get into it, how I'm going to actually walk in it, and how to transport it. If you're not careful with transporting these, you will crush all the plants and ruin your months of hard work. A big thing also that you have to consider is the sustainability of the actual understructure. You've got to have enough soil and space to support the plants, but you also have to make sure that it's not too heavy, because more soil equals more moisture trapped inside of the pockets. I actually have to be very careful of how much water I have on the days prior to the actual wearing of it so that it's not too heavy. My first dress weighed about almost 40 pounds, and I can tell you it was very hard to walk and it was very uncomfortable to wear, and I was sore the next day. I'm not going to go into every step of making the understructure, but I just wanted to show you here how I come up with my ideas.
It is March 5th, 2018, and I just finished the understructure to the living dress number 3 last night. I'm doing things a little bit differently than last year. Last year I had basically a hoop skirt made out of hula hoops and some polyester fabric, and I made pockets inside of it, and that's what I planted the plants in. But this year I'm doing a little bit different theme. It's going to be a Victorian bustle gown. So here I have some canvas fabric that I've made most of it out of. This is the pockets. My sister keeps joking, saying that it's a tool belt, but it's not. It's a skirt that zips up the front. And then back here I have basically another hula hoop construction of a bustle cage. Now I'm going to have to do a lot of things to disguise it. I might either spray paint it or go over it with a whole layer of green duct tape. I haven't decided yet. But this is the base. Just wanted to get a beginning shot.
So this is a short time lapse of me starting to put the pine cones onto the corset. It's a pretty simple process. You tear apart the pine cones to where you get the individual pieces. Then you have to cut the ends off of each of those pieces so that when you actually glue them onto the corset, they don't get too bulky. And the way I do this is I actually put them on like shingles so that it doesn't look too contrived. You don't want them to look like tiles where it's just one after another and after another. You kind of want to overlap them. I've gone through 2 bags of 100 mini glue sticks, and I'm probably going to have to buy a third here shortly, but that's actually for my shoes, which you'll see later. It takes a long time, but the end result's pretty cool.
It is April 20th, and today is plant day. Normally I would have planted earlier, but we've had a few late frosts, so I've been a little nervous to plant it because it's not fun moving the whole contraption. As you can see, my tool belt now looks a little bit more like an Easter egg basket. I'm going to be taking a series of pictures instead of filming because it takes a little bit too much room, and my camera will only do about 15 minutes of continuous film. But you'll get the general idea. Then there's my very unhelpful assistant, Jijo. who hopefully won't jump on this when it's done.
For my shoes, I knew I wanted to do a Victorian silhouette, or at least as close as I could without using some nice costume shoes. My mom actually found these at Goodwill a long time ago when I decided they'd be worth destroying for this costume, but I basically did the same thing that I did for the corset for the shoes, except I used much, much smaller pine cones. I left the top as a fabric instead of going all the way up with the pine cones because I knew it would just not be flexible enough for me to get my foot into there. They turned out pretty great though.
It's early in the morning on May 6th. The dress is looking pretty good. We got a nice steady rain last night, so all the flowers are pretty perky and lots of blooms. I'm a little bit nervous since it's about 2 weeks from when we're going to go to the Ren Fair. Hopefully there will be blooms to replace them. Look at this one over here. This petunia was given to me by some friends that had snuck into their flat at the plant store, and they didn't realize it till they got home. And I swear every single bud on that petunia is blooming right now. I actually had to put it there because something had gotten into my dress. I'm not sure if it was a squirrel, chipmunk, or a bird, but there was some stems from like the leaves of the walnuts stuck in there, so something was making a home. That's actually a question I get a lot, is are there bugs in there? And yes, there are. There usually is. And they don't really bother me as long as I know that they're not a poisonous spider or anything, which is kind of unlikely. But yeah, it's looking good. A lot of people also ask me what do I do with the flowers and stuff after this dress is done, because usually I only get maybe one wear out of this. I'm hoping for more than one this year. And what I do is I just plant them in my garden. Some dianthus from last year's dress. I've also made a few little changes. Don't know if you can see it. Put my hand by it. I've added a few guy wires right there and on the other side to help support the cage. What was happening is the weight was pulling these two layers apart. Even though I put braces on the structure from both the top and the bottom of each layer, it still is pulling apart, and that helps tremendously. I just have these pots sitting under there for now so that there's not undue stress on it while we're growing it. Another thing I'm thinking about doing is I'm worried that right here these buttons are going to show underneath the corset whenever I wear it, so thinking about making a form of suspenders that will attach to the back and the front to help support the weight of the dress. It's May 17th, and as you can see, we are now on the porch because we have a lot of crazy rain in the forecast, and I'm trying to control how much water gets into this dress so it's not too heavy in a couple of days for Ren Fair. Also, you can probably tell that the dress looks quite a bit different. I actually had to remake the whole skirt part because when I was replacing some ivy, I put my hand all the way through it, unzipped it, and found that there was 2 holes in it that had rotted away from the natural fabric of the canvas resting on the plastic bag and then combined with water. So that was pretty disappointing, but at the same time I think it's looking really good now and I'm kind of happy with the results. And also I made my suspenders to support from the front and the back. It's hard to see in this darkness. But yeah, a couple days from Ren Fair. Excited to wear it, nervous to wear it. It's always a bit of a gamble if it'll actually work out. I actually dug up the dianthus from the garden from last year's dress. But we'll see you in a few days when we're actually wearing it. The countdown has begun.